Hi, I'm Pam Dempsey, Executive Director of the Midwest Center for Investigative Reporting, here with Jonathan Hedinger, our reporter who has been covering the dicamba lawsuit by a peach farmer there in Missouri. And Jonathan, we're on day 6 of the trial. So what happened today? Monday, February 3rd, big takeaways.
So today, the first BASF official testified, Gary Schmitz, who is in central Illinois, and he's focused. He oversees people in 10 different states, focusing on corn and soybeans and things like that. So he was testifying a lot about the rollout of Ingenia in 2017, which is BASF's dicamba herbicide. And then he also was talking about some of the issues in 2016 and kind of just what they expected. So the most interesting part to me was he was talking about the training of people investigating drift complaints in 2017. And one of the things that came out was that according to the guidelines for investigators, they were telling them that they should tell farmers, hey, don't worry, you're not going to have any yield loss from your dicamba drift. But then they were telling pesticide applicators, hey, you might be causing some damage to these soybeans, especially if you hit them during the reproductive stage. So that, that was really an interesting development. And then a couple things that he talked about was just that dicamba is likely to drift past the 110-foot buffer to the point where it might cause symptomology, even if it's sprayed under the label. So he said he would, even if you're applying via, like, according to the label, it's up to applicators to use discretion, because it's their responsibility, not BASF's. And then another interesting thing was from Monsanto, Thomas Orr, who helped to lead the science on getting the XtendiMax approved by the EPA, was talking about their field volatility tests. And turns out that Monsanto's field volatility tests that they conducted in Georgia and Texas to tell whether dicamba volatilizes were conducted in conditions that don't meet the label because the wind speeds were too low, which was surprising to me. I didn't know that before. And then another thing that he said was that Monsanto never tested for multiple exposures, which means a single field getting hit by dicamba drift from more than one place, more than one site, and kind of what effect that might have. At one point, they did look into modeling that based off of their studies. It would have only been $6,000, but they decided against it. And then we also had one live witness today, which was Dennis Cravens, who was a farmhand from a farm right near Bader Farms. He said in 2016 he helped apply dicamba illegally to one of those farms. He was driving a truck full of dicamba, an older version of dicamba, and that truck, they took the dicamba out of that shuttle, and out of those shuttles, which are containers that you hold pesticides in, and put it into Roundup shuttles. And then they said that they put those Roundup shuttles in the sprayer and then sprayed dicamba illegally. And he saw them do that, and he admitted that he was a part of that.
So, and kind of he just for doing that, there was no repercussions to him personally?
No, he said he was visited by a couple EPA agents at his home, but he was never indicted or anything. He did say that he felt like Murphy Farms made him the fall guy for that, but he said no, as far as he knows, no one got in trouble.
So we're starting our second week of this trial. Originally, it was projected to go 2 to 3 weeks. At this point, time-wise, what are we looking at?
I think that it's probably going to go at least 3 weeks. The plaintiff said today that they have 4 video testimony witnesses left, which will all go tomorrow, which is supposed to be 5 hours and 40 minutes. And then after that, they're going to have live witnesses, but they hope to wrap up their case on Friday, which would which then Monsanto gets to present a defense, and then BASF gets to present a defense. And then they have closing arguments. So last week, BASF's attorneys raised the question like, hey, plaintiffs are going to take 2 weeks. We don't want to be short on our time. Like, we don't want to only have 2 days if they get 2 weeks. And so Judge Limbaugh told them, hey, I'm going to clear my docket. Everyone's going to get their opportunity to tell their side of the story. So at this point, I would guess it's probably going to go longer than 3 weeks.
And certainly this is not accounting for any jury deliberation, right, which we know could be anybody's guess.
Right.
It could be very short or could be take a while.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We will check in with you again tomorrow.
All right. Thanks.